starting from doing much better analysis. So I mentioned at the beginning that it's about investing up front in analysis, right from deciding which sectors are we going to work in, and are we going to encourage others to invest in? Because the investment isn't mainly coming from us, it's coming from farmers, it's coming from companies, etc. And there we should be looking at both markets that are viable and that work for women. And then once we've figured out which sectors really provide options for women, within those, where are the key economic opportunities? And whereas in the past we have tended to try and focus on improving what women producers are already doing at producer level, this is really about shifting roles so that women can now, for example, instead of producing dairy products from herds, also be veterinary agents, or they can, I've already mentioned the case of, run nursery businesses, etc. So there are whole other dimensions of services and inputs and so on where there are economic opportunities. So this is just an example from Tanzania, developed by the Tanzania program themselves, about how to do this kind of market selection. It's quite an engaged process with lots of stakeholders, but basically, they prioritise sectors in that green upper right-hand corner according to some criteria, of which the priority ones were market demand on the vertical axis and women's participation on a product that works for women on the horizontal axis. So that sort of narrowed down the choices for them in the given region that they were working. So that's an example of how we've changed our ways of analysing. And then, looking at another example from Ethiopia, doing what we call gendered market mapping. So at the top we have the sort of market environment, the policy frameworks, etc. In the middle, the value chain, and at the bottom, the services. And this is the sesame sector in Ethiopia. And there was an opportunity here of developing a new oil processing plant. But then when we started looking into the sector, there was actually very little obvious opportunity in that for women. So it's really about thinking, okay, in this market system, where might the opportunities be? So doing the analysis, we found out that women had very little control over the land. The culture meant that women were not perceived as being good managers of business. Only 6% of women were in production, is that right? And 2% membership of the organisations. They had no credit, although a lot of the demand was actually coming from women in the market. So it's actually working with programs to get them to do this analysis very systematically. And then, what was figured out in the end was to really provide both an opportunity for women and meet the demand in the market, significant demand in the market, positioning women to be traders in the sesame oil sector was going to provide an opportunity that didn't rely on immediately overcoming all these constraints, but would at the same time challenge ideas and beliefs about women being business women in this sector and make them much more visible.